Hey everyone, welcome back. 8 clear signs. You're a highly attractive man, but you don't even realize it. Damn Stoicism? Marcus Aurelius never looked in the mirror and thought, I'm attractive. Neither did Seneca or Epictetus. Yet these men commanded respect, admiration, and yes, attraction from everyone around them. Why? Because true attraction isn't what you think it is. If you've ever wondered why some men seem to effortlessly draw people toward them while others struggle despite having everything going for them, that you're about to discover something that will completely change your perspective. Today I'm going to reveal 8 clear signs that you're a highly attractive man, signs that have nothing to do with your looks, your bank account, or your social media followers. These are the subtle, powerful traits that the ancient Stoics understood made a man truly magnetic. And here's the thing, if you possess these qualities, you probably don't even realize how attractive you actually are. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why real attraction is an inside job. Before we dive into these 8 signs, let me ask you something. When you think of an attractive man, what comes to mind? Most people immediately think of physical appearance, wealth, or status symbols. But the Stoics, philosophers, who lived over 2,000 years ago, understood something that modern society has largely forgotten. True attraction isn't skin deep, it's soul deep. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the ancient world, wrote in his personal journal, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." This wasn't just philosophy, this was practical wisdom about what makes a person genuinely magnetic. Now I want you to do something as we go through these signs. Don't just passively watch. Honestly assess yourself. You might be surprised by what you discover about your own attractiveness. Here are the 8 signs we'll explore. 1. You don't seek validation from others. 2. You remain calm under pressure. 3. You listen more than you speak. 4. You take responsibility without making excuses. 5. You're genuinely indifferent to outcomes. 6. You treat everyone with equal respect. 7. You're comfortable with solitude. 8. You focus on what you can control. Each of these might seem simple on the surface, but as we'll discover, they represent profound shifts in how you show up in the world. Let's begin. Sign 1. You don't seek validation from others. Sign number 1. You don't seek validation from others. Let me tell you about James. James was always the guy posting gym selfies, name-dropping his job title in conversations, and constantly seeking approval through his achievements. On paper, he had everything: great job, good looks, active social life. Yet he couldn't understand why his relationships felt shallow and why people seemed to lose interest in him over time. The problem? James was what the Stoics would call externally dependent. His entire sense of self-worth relied on other people's opinions. Epictetus taught us, wealth consists in not having great possessions, but in having few wants. This applies perfectly to validation. The man who needs constant approval is impoverished, while the man who validates himself is truly wealthy. Think about the most attractive men you know personally, not celebrities, but real people in your life. I guarantee they share this quality. They don't fish for compliments, they don't humble brag, and they don't change their behavior based on who's watching. This creates what psychologists call authentic presence. When you're not performing for others, people sense your genuineness immediately. It's magnetic because it's rare. I once worked with a CEO who never mentioned his title unless directly asked. He treated the janitor with the same respect as the board members. Guess who everyone wanted to be around? Not because of his position, but because of his presence. Here's how you can recognize this in yourself. Do you post on social media seeking likes and comments? Or do you share because you genuinely want to? Do you name drop your achievements in conversations? Do you feel uncomfortable when you're not getting attention? If you naturally focus on your own growth and satisfaction, rather than others' opinions, congratulations, you're displaying one of the most attractive traits a man can possess. But validation independence is just the beginning. The second sign is even more powerful. Sign 2, you remain calm under pressure. Sign number 2, you remain calm under pressure. Picture this scenario. You're in a meeting and suddenly everything goes wrong. The presentation crashes, the client is upset, and everyone's looking around panicking. What do you do? If you're the guy who takes a deep breath, assesses the situation calmly, and starts problem solving, while others are freaking out, you're demonstrating what the Stoics called equanimity. And trust me, people notice. Marcus Aurelius faced plagues, wars, and betrayals during his reign. Yet he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This wasn't just pretty philosophy. This was survival wisdom that made him one of history's most respected leaders. Modern neuroscience confirms what the Stoics intuited. When we remain calm under pressure, we literally think more clearly. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making, functions better when we're not flooded with stress hormones. But here's what makes this attractive. Calm confidence is incredibly rare. We live in a world of reactive people. Road rage, social media outbursts, workplace drama. Everyone's emotional thermostat is set to volatile. I know a guy named Michael who works in emergency medicine. During a code blue situation, literal life and death, he moves with this incredible calm efficiency. Nurses have told me they feel safer and more confident when he's leading. That same energy follows him everywhere. At parties, in relationships, in everyday life, people are drawn to his steady presence. How do you know if you have this quality? Ask yourself, when conflict arises, do people look to you to mediate? Do you find yourself naturally becoming the calm voice of reason? Can you disagree with someone without getting emotionally charged? Do you make better decisions when others are stressed? Here's what most people don't understand. Remaining calm isn't about suppressing emotions. It's about what Seneca called emotional regulation. You feel the emotion. Acknowledge it, but don't let it control your actions. This creates an aura of reliability that people find incredibly attractive. In a chaotic world, you become the eye of the storm, peaceful, centered, and strong. But being calm is only part of the equation. The third sign reveals another layer of attraction that most men completely miss. Sign 3, you listen more than you speak. Sign number 3, you listen more than you speak. Here's a brutal truth. Most conversations aren't actually conversations. They're competing monologues. Person A waits for person B to stop talking so they can share their story, their opinion, or their solution. Sound familiar? The attractive man does something radically different. He listens. Really listens. Epictetus taught, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. But this goes deeper than just keeping quiet. True listening is an act of respect, curiosity, and strength. When you truly listen to someone, you're giving them something incredibly rare, your full attention. In our age of constant distraction, this feels like a superpower to the person receiving it. I once watched a friend of mine at a networking event. While everyone else was trying to impress each other with their elevator pitches, he spent the entire evening asking thoughtful questions and listening intently to the answers. By the end of the night, he had a stack of business cards and 3 dinner invitations. He barely talked about himself at all. Real listening demonstrates several attractive qualities simultaneously. Confidence. You're secure enough not to dominate every conversation. Intelligence. You're gathering information before forming opinions. Empathy. You genuinely care about others' experiences. Patience. You're not rushing to be heard. How do you know if you're a true listener? Do people often tell you personal things they don't share with others? Do conversations with you leave others feeling heard and understood? Can you ask follow-up questions that show you were paying attention? Do people seek you out when they need to talk through problems? Here's a simple test. In your last 3 conversations, what did you learn about the other person that you didn't know before? If you can't answer that, you might be talking more than listening. True Stoic listening goes beyond just hearing words. You're listening for what they're not saying, the emotions behind their words, what they truly need, which might not be what they're asking for. This level of attention creates deep connections that shallow small talk never can. Listening builds trust and connection. But the fourth sign reveals how you handle responsibility, and this might be the most attractive quality of all. Sign 4. You take responsibility without making excuses. Sign number 4. You take responsibility without making excuses. Let me paint you two pictures. Picture 1. Something goes wrong at work. The guy immediately starts explaining why it wasn't his fault. The traffic, the computer, his colleague, the unrealistic deadline. Everyone and everything is to blame except him. Picture 2. Something goes wrong. The guy says, "That's on me. Here's how I'm going to fix it." No drama, no excuses, just ownership and action. Which guy would you rather work with? Date? Trust with something important? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." The Stoics understood that dwelling on what went wrong or who's to blame is a waste of energy. The only thing that matters is what you do next. Taking responsibility demonstrates several incredibly attractive traits. Maturity. You're emotionally developed enough to own your mistakes. Reliability. People know they can count on you to handle problems. Growth mindset. You see failures as learning opportunities. Leadership. Others naturally follow people who take ownership. I know an entrepreneur who lost a major client due to a miscommunication in his team. Instead of throwing his employees under the bus, he called the client personally, took full responsibility, and outlined his plan to prevent similar issues. Not only did he keep the client, but they referred 3 new customers because they were so impressed with his integrity. We live in what I call the excuse epidemic. Social media has made it easier than ever to blame external circumstances for our problems. The economy, the government, our parents, society. There's always someone or something else responsible. The man who breaks this pattern stands out immediately. Do you exhibit this attractive trait? Consider, when something goes wrong, is your first instinct to find solutions or find someone to blame? Do people come to you when they need problems solved? Can you admit mistakes without feeling like you're losing face? Do you see failures as feedback rather than defeats? Here's what the Stoics understood. Taking responsibility isn't about self-blame or punishment. It's about power. When you own your role in any situation, you automatically have power to change it. True responsibility goes beyond just owning mistakes. It includes taking responsibility for your reactions to situations you didn't create, owning your role in relationship dynamics, accepting responsibility for your own happiness and success. People are naturally drawn to those who take responsibility because it creates safety. When you know someone will own their mistakes and fix them, you can relax around them. This psychological safety is incredibly attractive. Taking responsibility shows maturity, but the 5th sign reveals a level of inner strength that's absolutely magnetic. Sign 5, you're genuinely indifferent to outcomes. Sign number 5, you're genuinely indifferent to outcomes. Now, before you click away thinking this sounds cold or uncaring, hear me out. This might be the most misunderstood and most attractive trait on our entire list. When Stoics talk about being indifferent to outcomes, they don't mean you don't care about results. They mean you don't attach your self-worth, happiness, or identity to things outside your control. Think about dating. The desperate guy who needs every interaction to lead. Somewhere is exhausting to be around. His whole energy screams, "I need you to validate me." Compare that to the guy who enjoys the conversation, is genuinely interested in getting to know you, but isn't attached to any particular outcome. Which one feels more attractive? Seneca taught, every new venture brings new fears. The only way to overcome them is to detach yourself from the outcome and focus on the process. Outcome independence is attractive because it demonstrates confidence. You know your worth isn't determined by external results. Abundance mindset. You're not operating from scarcity or desperation. Emotional stability. Your mood doesn't swing based on circumstances. Authenticity. You can be yourself because you're not trying to manipulate outcomes. I once watched a salesman who embodied this perfectly. He presented his product with genuine enthusiasm, answered all questions honestly, including pointing out potential drawbacks, and never pressured anyone to buy. His closing rate was phenomenal because people trusted him completely. He wasn't trying to convince them. He was simply sharing information and letting them decide. Here's the beautiful paradox. When you stop being attached to outcomes, you often get better outcomes. Why? Because you're not operating from fear, desperation, or need. You make clearer decisions, take appropriate risks, and people sense your genuine energy. Do you demonstrate outcome independence? Can you have a great time at social events even if you don't meet anyone special? Do you apply for jobs or opportunities without your self-worth hanging in the balance? Can you disagree with someone without needing to convince them you're right? Do you pursue goals for the joy of the process, not just the end result? This trait creates what psychologists call authentic self-expression. When you're not trying to control outcomes, you can simply be yourself. And there's nothing more attractive than someone who's comfortable in their own skin. True outcome independence extends to not needing others to behave a certain way for you to be happy. Pursuing relationships for companionship, not completion. Working hard on goals while being okay if they don't materialize exactly as planned. Expressing your opinion without needing agreement. People are drawn to outcome-independent individuals because they feel safe around them. There's no hidden agenda, no manipulation, no emotional vampirism. You can just be yourself around them too. Outcome independence creates authentic relationships. But the sixth sign shows how you treat people, and this reveals everything about your character. Sign 6. You treat everyone with equal respect. Sign number 6. You treat everyone with equal respect. I want you to imagine you're at a fancy restaurant. How does the man at the next table treat the waiter compared to how he treats his date? If there's a difference, if he's charming to her, but dismissive to the staff, you've just learned everything you need to know about his character. The truly attractive man treats everyone with the same fundamental respect, regardless of what they can do for him. Marcus Aurelius, remember, was literally the most powerful man in the ancient world. Yet he wrote, "We were born to work together like feet, hands and eyes like the 2 rows of teeth, upper and lower." He understood that every person has inherent dignity. Here's what I call the service industry test. How do you treat people who are serving you? Waiters, cashiers, customer service representatives, janitors, Uber drivers. Your behavior toward these people reveals your true character more than any other interaction. I once went to dinner with a successful businessman who was incredibly charming to our group but snapped his fingers at the waiter and spoke to him like he was an inconvenience. Every woman at the table noticed. His charm instantly became repulsive because we could see it was just a performance. Equal treatment is attractive because it demonstrates genuine character. Your kindness isn't conditional or strategic. Security. You don't need to put others down to feel important. Emotional intelligence. You understand that everyone has feelings and dignity. Leadership quality. Real leaders elevate others. They don't diminish them. This extends beyond service interactions. How do you treat people who are less educated than you? People who have less money than you? People who can't advance your career? People who disagree with your political views? People who are going through difficult times? Pay special attention to how someone treats children and elderly people. These groups often have less social power. So interactions with them reveal pure character without any strategic motivation. Do you exhibit this attractive trait? Do you remember the names of people who provide services to you regularly? Are you polite and patient even when you're having a bad day? Do you tip service workers fairly regardless of the service quality? Do you defend people who aren't present to defend themselves? Do you listen to people regardless of their social status? This goes beyond just treating others as you'd like to be treated. It's about recognizing the inherent worth in every human being. The Stoics called this sympathia, the understanding that we're all connected. When people see you treat everyone with respect, they know they can trust you. They know your kindness toward them is genuine, not calculated. This creates deep, lasting attraction based on character rather than circumstance. True equal treatment includes not gossiping about people who aren't present, giving credit where credit is due, regardless of hierarchy, being willing to learn from anyone, regardless of their position, standing up for what's right even when it's not convenient. Your treatment of others also reveals how you'll treat them in the future. If you're kind when you don't need to be, people trust you'll be kind when they need you to be. Equal respect shows strong character. But the seventh sign reveals something even deeper about attractive men: their relationship with solitude. Sign 7. You're comfortable with solitude. Sign number 7. You're comfortable with solitude. In our hyper-connected world, the ability to be alone without being lonely has become a superpower. Most people can't sit quietly for 5 minutes without reaching for their phone. If you can enjoy your own company, you're displaying one of the most attractive traits possible. We live in what psychologists call the loneliness epidemic. But here's the paradox. People are more connected than ever yet feel more isolated. Why? Because they've lost the ability to be comfortable with themselves. Seneca wrote, "All cruelty springs from weakness." When people can't stand being alone with their thoughts, they often become desperate for distraction through drama, validation seeking, or constantly needing others' attention. Being comfortable alone demonstrates several magnetic qualities. Self-sufficiency. You don't need others to entertain or validate you. Inner peace. You've made friends with your own mind. Selectivity. You choose relationships because you want them, not because you need them. Depth. You have a rich inner life that doesn't require constant external stimulation. Here's a key insight. If you can't be happy alone, you can't be truly happy in a relationship. You'll be looking to your partner to fill voids that only you can fill, which creates an exhausting dynamic for them. I know a guy who takes solo trips regularly, not because he doesn't have friends or relationships, but because he genuinely enjoys exploring new places at his own pace, thinking his own thoughts, and having adventures on his own terms. Women find this incredibly attractive because it shows he's choosing to be with them, not using them to escape from himself. Are you comfortable with solitude? Can you eat at a restaurant alone without feeling self-conscious? Do you enjoy taking walks without music or podcasts? Can you spend a weekend alone without feeling restless or depressed? Do you have hobbies you pursue just for your own enjoyment? Are you selective about social invitations rather than accepting everything? Men who are comfortable with solitude tend to have fewer but deeper relationships. They're not trying to fill their social calendar. They're investing in meaningful connections. Solitude is also where creativity and self-reflection happen. The most interesting people, the ones we're naturally drawn to, have rich inner lives that they've cultivated through spending quality time alone. In our digital age, true solitude means putting away devices and being present with yourself, sitting with uncomfortable thoughts instead of immediately distracting yourself, enjoying activities without documenting them for social media, processing emotions rather than numbing them with constant stimulation. Comfort with solitude is often the ultimate confidence indicator. It says, I'm interesting enough to spend time with myself. I'm secure enough not to need constant validation. I'm complete enough that relationships are an addition to my life, not a requirement. Here's another beautiful paradox. The more comfortable you become with solitude, the more people want to spend time with you. Why? Because you're not needy, you're not draining, and you bring a calm, centered energy to interactions. Comfort with solitude shows inner strength, but our final sign ties everything together. It's about where you focus your energy. Sign 8. You focus on what you can control. Sign number 8. You focus on what you can control. This is the foundation of Stoic philosophy and perhaps the most attractive trait a man can possess. While everyone else is wasting energy complaining about politics, weather, other people's behavior, or past mistakes, you're focused on the only things that actually matter: your choices, your actions, and your responses. Epictetus taught, some things are within our power, while others are not. This simple truth separates effective men from frustrated, powerless ones. Attractive men understand that energy is finite. Every moment you spend worrying about things you can't control is energy. You're not investing in things you can. It's like trying to fill a bucket with holes in it. Your effort and preparation, your reactions to situations, your attitude and mindset, your habits and daily choices, how you treat others, what you focus on, your personal growth, other people's opinions or actions, the past or future, economic conditions, natural disasters, how others respond to you, whether opportunities arise, the outcome of your efforts. When you focus on your circle of control, several things happen. You become more effective because you're not wasting energy. You're less stressed because you're not fighting unwinnable battles. You're more pleasant to be around because you're not constantly complaining. You develop real confidence based on your ability to handle what comes. Think about job interviews. The unattractive candidate spends the week worrying about the competition, the interviewer's mood, or whether they'll like his background. The attractive candidate spends that week preparing his responses, researching the company, and getting enough sleep. Guess who performs better? In relationships, this principle is revolutionary. Instead of trying to change your partner or control their behavior, you focus on being the best version of yourself. Instead of getting upset about their bad day affecting you, you control your response to their mood. Do you focus on what you can control? When problems arise, do you immediately look for what actions you can take? Do you spend more time planning than worrying? Can you let go of things once you've done everything you can? Do people come to you for practical advice rather than just venting? Are you known for following through on your commitments? Here's the beautiful thing about focusing on what you can control. It compounds. Every day you focus on your choices rather than your circumstances, you become stronger, more capable, and more attractive. This eighth sign ties all the others together. When you focus on what you can control, validation becomes internal, pressure becomes manageable, listening becomes natural, responsibility becomes automatic, outcomes become less important, respect becomes consistent, solitude becomes peaceful, and your entire life becomes more attractive. Conclusion and call to action. So there you have it. The 8 clear signs that you're a highly attractive man, rooted in 2,000-year-old Stoic wisdom, but more relevant today than ever. Let me ask you, how many of these signs do you recognize in yourself? If you're honest in your self-assessment, you might be surprised by your own attractiveness. Here's what I want you to understand. These aren't traits you either have or don't have. They're skills you can develop. Every single one of these signs can be cultivated through conscious practice and commitment to growth. Pick one sign that resonates with you, maybe one you want to develop further. Focus on it for the next 30 days. Notice how it changes not just how others respond to you, but how you feel about yourself. I want to hear from you. In the comments below, tell me, which of these signs surprised you the most? Which one do you want to develop further? Have you noticed these traits in other attractive men in your life? If this video helped you see attraction in a new light, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We're building a community of men committed to genuine self-improvement based on timeless principles, not quick fixes or manipulation tactics. Next week, I'm releasing a video on the 5 Stoic habits that transform your daily life. Practical exercises. You can start today to develop these attractive traits we've discussed. Remember, Marcus Aurelius didn't become attractive by trying to impress others. He became magnetic by impressing himself, by living according to his principles, focusing on his character and treating each day as an opportunity to become better. The same path is available to you. The question is, will you take it? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.